Hello guys, today we are going to be doing part 2, Jesus that scared me, to this video that I watched, I think it was last episode.
The next Ring camera footage happens in broad daylight. There appears to be nothing unsettling about what's being shown here. It just looks like a male holding what appears to be a box of candy, like one of those people that go door to door and try to sell you something to help support their cause. But what happens next will blow your mind. Here's what it looked like. I've seen many freaky Ring camera footages online, but nothing beats what I'm about to tell you. If there ever was a Candyman that existed in the real world, you're about to witness it. It happened about a month ago when I was
Damn boy, he let the dogs out, god damn.
home alone. The world would have never witnessed what unfolded if I hadn't installed a Ring camera on my front door. It happened on a Tuesday in broad daylight. I was working from home on my laptop when I heard my doorbell ringing. As a safety precaution, I always like to check the surveillance footage to see who was out front. There stood a gentleman that looked to be in his mid-20s, with a mask over his face.
Bro, this cut is not it. Like, it looks like he's got a rough shave. Like he literally just took scissors and just was
holding what appeared to be a box of candy. At first glance, he looked like one of those candy salesmen that sell chocolate door to door.
Yeah,
I found this rather strange, as people who do this kind of thing were typically on the younger side, but I didn't see any harm in it. I ended up entering the foyer and opening the door, only to see the same individual I saw in the camera, except he looked more deranged close up.
Hi, sir. Would you like to buy some chocolate?
How much?
How much you got? You seem like you have a nice house. You must be loaded. How about you buy all my chocolate?
Kid, you don't just come to someone's house and request—
Shut up!
I am not, bro, like, if you look like this, just close the damn door and call the police. Like, don't be opening that shit.
And buy my chocolate, rich boy.
How about this? Get the hell off my property and leave me alone, or I'm calling the cops! Get on the floor, you little shit! And that's when I got robbed point blank. It all went down in a split second. Several bandits ambushed and robbed my house, leaving myself and the candy seller dumbfounded.
Bro,
but after the local news
outplayed.
stations got a hold of the story, it was later found out that the candy salesman was a part of the whole robbery scheme.
Why he holding it like that? He's like, yeah, like my chocolate now, motherfucker.
He had been going to multiple houses around the neighborhood, posing as a candy salesman, only to lure people to open their front door.
A brazen robber posing to sell candy along with 3 other people are still on the loose tonight. The frightening daytime armed robbery home invasion that happened on Monday in Stockton has a lot of neighbors nervous.
What appeared to be a young man selling candy in a North Stockton, Murata area neighborhood quickly turned into a homeowner's worst nightmare. This neighbor, not the one robbed, captured video through his own Ring camera about 5 minutes earlier of the alleged candy man coming to his door. He watched a live feed on his home Ring camera as the phony candy seller came to his door.
Low key, that is really smart to do.
There are hundreds of doorbell video clips revolving around.
Man didn't even try to be stealthy with it. He just fucking walked up. He was like, yeah.
But the backstory behind this video has got to be the most disturbing. Here you can see the clown in front of a house while holding what appears to be a large kitchen knife. The following story portrays a dramatized reenactment of the encounter. Here's what the story looked like. In the last several years, it felt like a lot of the big dramas and outrages have been started by what are called jokes by the people that are saying and doing the things that are getting negative attention. Historically,
Looks oddly familiar. I guess you could say that's a knee slapper.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
find a guy like me sticking to the side of let people joke how they want and don't get offended if you personally don't find it funny. Quite a few people have tried to persuade me out of believing this. Some of them were level heads, just trying to get me to understand why people are sensitive to some things, but others were a little more aggressive in their statements to me. Of course, I never really listened to the people who were trying to have a productive conversation. I genuinely loved to jump into the fray and troll people who I thought were taking their opinions a bit too seriously. And I wasn't just this way online.
Oh, by the way, if you guys can't, you guys can't see. But here, wait, hold up. Let me move my webcam. Nice. Okay, put that bad boy back and...
The digital presence of a troll that I put up was an extension of who I was in real life. But I always knew that most people would describe me as having an attitude problem, being a little crass, or just a jerk. I didn't mind being seen that way. It was all verbal stuff anyway. I never threatened or hurt anyone physically. But the thing about always being negative like that is, well, it builds up a lot of bad...
Bro, he looks like he's like so scrawny. And look at his house. Where does he live? In an old abandoned church? Like, hell no, bro.
Karma, as I've come to learn. And eventually all this bad karma caught up to me. I never saw it coming. But once it happened, I started reflecting on my actions and how they got me in that situation. It was all pretty obvious. On Fridays I didn't have work, so I'd always get a head start on my weekend. I spent most Fridays lounging around my house and doing some chores at a very leisurely pace, sometimes pre-gaming for the parties I was going to find myself at come nighttime. This was one of those occasions on which I started getting rowdy pretty early in the day. I was getting my mail around 3 p.m., a drink in one hand as I stepped out the front door to check the box. I remember being rather annoyed with the bills I received in the mail that day. I'd gotten a ticket for running a red light, which arrived at the same time as my utility bill and HOA dues notice, so quite a few expenses popping all at once like that soured my mood pretty bad. That's when I saw one of the neighborhood kids biking down the road, probably going home from school. I saw that kid a lot. My house must have been on his commute to school. From time to time, I'd call out to him and try to make some jokes, but he never seemed to appreciate them. He'd always give me the evil eye or throw me the bird or just ride on by pretending he didn't hear me. On this particular day, he looked worn out, dejected, seemed like the perfect target for a little joshing around. I took a guess as to what was messing with him and tried to dig at it. Yo kid, maybe if you ditched the raggedy old bike and got a car, that girl wouldn't have curved you so bad. Suddenly the kid did something I didn't expect. He hit the brakes hard and skidded to a stop, swinging out his back tire and looking straight at me. Maybe if you got a life and minded your own business, I wouldn't have to take you down a peg. What does that even mean, kid? You can't say weird stuff like that. You'll never make any friends that way. You better sleep with one eye open, jerkwad! In the moment, I couldn't help but laugh. A threat never feels emptier than when it's shouted at you from someone 10 years younger than you on a...
My man's dead. Bro. Literally gonna get stabbed by Stoneface.
However, though I guess I can never prove it, I'm pretty sure that threat was real. A night or two later, I slept soundly. I didn't give any mind to that kid. I have about 15 security cameras and a bunch of high-powered floodlights all around the exterior of my house, which I had installed for reasons you could expect for someone of my personality. I always knew my antics could create enemies who might want to try and get back at me through my house, but I never thought the cameras would capture something as strange as they did. When I awoke the next morning, I couldn't shake this feeling that something was wrong. Every time I rounded a corner in my house, I got the chills, and I couldn't tell why. To alleviate my suspicions, I decided to check the security footage from the previous night, thinking there would be nothing of any concern. I was in the middle of the night around 2 in the morning. An unidentified figure approached my house. He or she was dressed in a clown costume, looking just like one of those creepy killer clown sickos from all those weird videos that were surfacing in 2016. They were armed with a ridiculously long knife which they brandished in front of the cameras. First they snuck up to my front door and tried to open it, jostling the handle to see if it was locked. Of course it was locked and they weren't able to get in from there. The microphone on my doorbell overheard their deranged conversation with themselves.
You locked the door? How dare you? I know you can see me through your little camera, you vermin. Take all the screenshots and footage that you want. This won't be the last time you see this face.
Even as they talked to themselves like a crazy
Hell
person,
no.
they were extremely quiet. Still, the motion sensors on the floodlights lit them up all the same. This clown character wasn't spooked by the lights, however. They seemed to be familiar with the layout of my house, like they'd seen it before. They did an entire lap around it, checking the lock on every single window and door, peering inside and scratching the walls with their knife.
You really dodged a bullet. Or should I say, a knife.
But the weirdest part is, as quietly as they appeared, they also just left. It's very disturbing to know that I was completely unaware of all this as it was happening. I have an alarm system in my house, but all it would have taken was one unlocked door to give them enough time to sneak in and slit my throat before I'd even woken up. It's pretty embarrassing, honestly. I can't say for sure, but based on when this all happened and how popular those killer clown videos were with high schoolers at the time, it makes perfect sense to me that the one kid on the bike would be the culprit. But again, I wasn't 100% sure. The fact that he strolled around the perimeter of the house made it seem as if it wasn't his first visit. But for the first few days, I didn't connect those dots, and I was worried half to death that I was being stalked by a real sicko. After seeing the footage, I really did sleep with one eye open for a few weeks. Just goes to show you should be careful who you mess with.
If that happened to me, I'm moving to a different country. Like, for real? Like, wait, did he even call, like, the cops or something? Like, that's what I would have done.
Certainly taught me a bit about who I choose to make jokes about, and when. I know it's punching down to mess with a high schooler, but that doesn't mean the kid can't be dangerous. I mean, the kind of kid who would do something like this just for getting teased.
That kid's in high school? Man looks like he's in middle school. On God, bruh.
Is the same kind of kid who might just snap on a whole different day, in a much worse way, given a different situation.
I feel like if you really wanted to kill him, he would just like break a window, run, you know. Alright, we're gonna stop right there. I can have another video about this, but you guys gotta let me know. And yeah. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed and see you next time. Peace.